Well, at UConn. We're now joined by Chance Miller. He's the Director of Athletics at Coastal Carolina. And my goodness, Chance, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Patrick Osborne knew me from when he was at Oklahoma State. I'd reached out to a couple of guys in media, and then he got in touch with me. Thank you for being a part of the show with us. How you been, sir?
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been a wild ride the past 24 hours.
Well, it has been. Paul Catalina is with me as well. We've discussed Coastal Carolina athletics, football teams, and all that before. But you guys won Twitter and social media yesterday with the free concession stand. Was the reaction more than you could have ever expected?
I thought it was going to be good. I did not think it would be like this, especially at the national level. But it's great to be able to showcase Coastal Carolina athletics and the university nationally and show people what great things we have going on down here.
Well, you've got your baseball team's very, very good. Your football team's been very, very good. You've got, up and coming basketball teams. All that is good. It's plus you're in. It's in the name of university. It's a pretty cool place to have a university where you are.
It's not a bad location.
Yeah, not a bad spot. How are you able to do this, given that so many universities rely on the profits of that just for athletic department funds where everything's going to be free?
Yeah, I think oftentimes people think, oh, we're relying on so much revenue from concessions. And really, when you look at it, you look at some of the items that we're offering for free here, the price per unit on them is pretty low. And when we're looking at it, we're saying, okay, we're still trying to build a fan base here. We're not like most universities that have football programs that have been around and playing for 100 years. We've not been a football program that long, right? We're still trying to build that community, that fan base. We've got a great support system right now, but want to continue to grow that. And we got to grow that through the fan experience. We've got to continue to add that. That's something that's important to me. And, for concessions, it's something that I tried last year when I was at the University of South Carolina. We put together 6 games for basketball, men's and women's, over the December timeframe where we're trying to get more people into the arena. The students are out on break. People have holiday plans. And we offered free concessions like this. And it was very successful. We saw attendance rates triple and sometimes quadruple compared to the year before. And the single game ticket sales helped us offset that. So hoping to do the same thing here and not only do an added value for people, but bring more people into Teal Nation so that we can get them into our annual fund and our philanthropic giving and have them come out for other events and support all of our other sports as well.
So your average attendance last year, I think I read this in an article, was 21,415 in 2024, which is about what the average is in the Sun Belt Conference. What would be the attendance that would make this worth it for you?
I think honestly, we're looking at the season tickets going up to about 23,000. A lot of the times you see the attendance numbers get announced, and that's based on the tickets either sold or given away or comped, and it's not the actual butts in seats. We want the butts in the seats. We want the atmosphere to be really great, and we don't want to have to do 2-for-1 ticket deals and group sales deals. We want to have season ticket holders that are there for all of our home games moving forward.
So you are going to have how do you deal with these students who are going to clean you out in certain parts of this in the stadium?
You have to scan our app. We're getting ready to roll out an app for the athletics department. It's brand new this week. You're going to have to download our app, get the QR code. You're going to have to scan it, and you're limited to 4 items per scan, right? Okay. So you're going to get those 4 items. You get a fountain drink, nachos, popcorn, hot dog, or 3 hot dogs and a fountain drink, and go take a seat, watch the game. If you want to go back and get in the line, you can. And there's going to be some people that are going to try to eat 20 hot dogs, right? But what I found last year is there's only so many hot dogs and fountain drinks and popcorn you can put down, right? Now, some can put down more than others. But it pretty much averages out, and it's just a good added value for a lot of our fans, especially fans. I've got 2 young children. When we go to events, I don't want to have to just keep getting nickel and dimed when I'm at an event. And, I took my 8-year-old, or just turned 9, my son, to an Atlanta United game a couple of years ago, and they have the fan-friendly pricing. And that was a great experience for both of us. You know, he got to eat whatever he wanted to and had dad time. And I didn't come out of there spending $400 in concessions. And so that fan experience keeps bringing people back. And we hope those people continue to be fans and be part of Teal Nation.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. If you get people there, then they want to, one, be entertained. They want to come back. And then, you know, maybe they'll also eventually down the road end up being somebody that buys much more. So 4 items. And they can go back in line and do 4 more based on the QR code. Because everyone's like, oh, my God, you get 37 hot dogs and fit. But you know, again, first of all, only so many people can eat so much, as you mentioned anyway. Are you going to ban? Are you yeah, are you going to ban cargo pants from?
Don't think we'll ban cargo pants. But you know, again, it's an added value for our fans. We're excited about it. You know, one of our big things is the fan experience, to continue to add on to that. And I think when you build your fan base the right way, you treat them right, those individuals are going to keep coming back, and they're going to give back to your student athletes. They're going to give back to your department.
Did anyone in administration like cross-check you on this, making sure that it's your department, you run the athletic department? Was there any give and take initially on this idea?
You know, what's great and what I love about Coastal Carolina is we have great leadership with President Benson, our board of trustees. We have good partners on campus with Airmark, our concessionaire. And I had done it last year at the University of South Carolina for 9,000 to 15,000 fans a game in a basketball arena, and seeing what it can be and the positive impact that it could make. And, you know, they've trusted me to try to run the athletics department and do it in a way that not only is financially feasible, but also in a way that helps get the community onto campus. And this is a thing that not only helps athletics, but it brings bodies onto Coastal Carolina University's campus and be able to showcase the great things we got going on in the Conway Myrtle Beach area.
Talking to Chance Miller, the AD, Director of Athletics at Coastal Carolina.
What is it like to be in charge of a program that's shown so much growth in such a really relatively short amount of time? I mean, you had really good football success, which was really good for the university to have that, because that one's the front door. But the baseball team is as fun to watch as any team in college baseball over the last few years. What's it like to do that and try to, I know you're trying to lasso a tornado a little bit and keep it with you, but what's it been like?
I tell you, it's been great. You know, when I was at the University of South Carolina, it's 2.5 hours down the road in Columbia. I'd always looked at Coastal Carolina as a place that if that AD job ever opens up, that's one I really want to go jump at. And when it did open up, I started really getting to know the president, the leadership here, the donors, and I was just excited of all the possibilities that we had here. I mean, you looked at it, and it's such a young program and a young donor base, but they've won a national championship in baseball. They had college game day here for football and beat BYU. You look at, we had a gold medalist track athlete this past year. There's some really special things going on, and it's a great foundation. And I wanted to come down here and bring additional staff and put resources here to where we could really take this thing to another level. And, you know, it's not just the university that's growing. You look at the enrollment rates are skyrocketing at a time where around the country, I don't think a lot of other universities can say that. And then you look at the county in Horry County. We're one of the fastest growing counties and one of the fastest growing states in the country. More people are relocating here than other places. And you've got a huge booming tourism, and you've got a beach 5 miles down the road. All those together, that's exciting. That's exciting to be able to lead an organization like this and try to take it to a next level. It's got a great foundation already, and we're going to have some success here. I'm really excited about it.
Everyone's talking about the football, the concession stands, and the free and the barcode and all that, but you did something in basketball too that you're not afraid, and you're, as somebody said, you're willing to take chances and see how things work. What was that about?
You know, we sat around and we have a really good men's and women's basketball coach. You know, Coach Gray with our men's team. It was his first year. People don't really know him, know his team. I watched them practice. I knew that they were going to compete hard. They did have a tough year in the win-loss category, but they never stopped competing. You know, they practiced hard. They won some games there at the end. You could start to see some upward momentum. And then the women's team with Coach Pedersen, he ran this, what he called coastal chaos. I mean, it was a full court press, a lot of threes. And I thought, if people just come out and watch them, they're going to really latch on to these two coaches and those student athletes and really start to build those two programs. And so we were trying to figure out what is going to help sell more tickets and give some people some skin in the game, right? Have them come out and cheer us on. And we did this thing where if we win, you win as a fan. Mm-hmm. And we said, if combined we win 35 games, we'll refund you all your season tickets. Come out and cheer us on. That'd be the best check I could write to everybody. And if you look at it, our season ticket numbers did go up. Our attendance for both the men and women were at some of their highest levels that they've been in over a decade. And we got really close to hitting that. We won 33 games combined. Mm-hmm. There were 2 games there at the end where we were leading with a couple minutes left. And I was checking with our business manager here going, hey, we're still going to be able to write that check, right? So did sweat it out a little bit. But again, I think we've got to be bold, especially here at Coastal, and bold in what we do and how we treat our fans and how we engage people and how we market ourselves. And I'm just excited that I have the leadership that trusts me to do that and have the staff here that can help us pull this off.
Is that the key to the right now in college athletics, which changes by the moment, that you can either, I guess scared money don't make money is the way to say it. But like you kind of, especially if you're at a school like yours that's growing but still small, you have to head into the breach. Otherwise, you're just going to always be on the outside looking in.
Look, college athletics is changing every day. And you can either sit and complain about it, or you can try to find solutions to it. And, at a school our size, we don't have as many resources as everyone else. We're still trying to build it, but that's an exciting challenge. And I think we've got to be bold in what we do. And I tell our staff all the time, be bold. Like let's stretch it. Let's see what we can do. And I'm never going to knock them if we are bold and we put something out there and the idea was good, it just didn't work. Sometimes you're going to fail, right? But like I tell my son when he's playing baseball, and he strikes out, he gets mad or he'll hit a pop fly. And I'm like, buddy, you go 3 out of 10, you're in the Hall of Fame, right? And sometimes you're going to fail. And that's what's great about sports, man. Sports is about overcoming failures and being able to bring people together and accomplish something special. And that's what we're trying to do here.
How much you got a New York Law School degree? You were with the NCAA Associate Director on the enforcement staff. How much of all that background helps you now with the changing times?
It does. I've got a lot of good friends that are still at the NCAA and able to contact them and get a pulse on what's going on nationally. And then a lot of people that I worked with at the NCAA have now gone on to other institutions. I was just on the phone last night with the deputy AD at the University of Iowa, who's a good friend of mine. And I was picking his brain on some stuff. Talked to the AD at Georgia Southern, who I'd worked with. So it gives me a lot of different contacts. The legal background, that's something that I practiced law for a little bit, got out of it to get back into sports, thought I'd given it up. And now you're dealing with contract negotiations with athletes, multimedia rights partners, sponsors, and that does help. It's been a good background, and it gives me some good resources to be able to lean on.
Chance, I feel like I might be able to pass the exams of a first year in law school just by reading as much as I've read the last year in changing rules in college athletics and lawsuits and all that. Like it's been a lot. So I can imagine that like having a comfort with it would be really good, because there are times I start reading something and I'm like, well, this is year 2 stuff here. I don't know. They're getting beyond. I don't know. It's really hard to grasp. It's just somebody who's followed the sports for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to grasp for somebody that's been in the business for a long time too. I mean, there's some stuff that I look at and you just kind of shake your head. But what I keep telling everybody is it's going to continue to change. College athletics is not going to have stability for a little while. And I think what we have to do is we have to plan in our strategic planning, in our contracts that we do with people, with the promotions that we do. We have to be nimble. We have to be able to pivot when things change. And that's what I tell my staff, and that's what they've been really good at.
All right. Again, we're talking to Chance Miller, the director of athletics at Coastal Carolina. You can go to a game, football game, buy 4 items per concession stand visit. The menu of hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, fountain drinks, etc. No limit on how many visits. You have the CR code, and you can go back, get back in line if you wanted to go back and do that again. How much of your time in the NCAA, and you see the House settlement meeting, the hearings coming up on Monday, what's going to happen? I mean, what are they thinking in Indianapolis, the NCAA offices or whatever, about what's about to happen, in your opinion?
I think it's difficult for them. I think a lot of times people, they blame the NCAA because it's kind of this big bad institution that's out there. But, we're all part of that, right? We all vote on the rules and regulations. And I think a lot of people at the national office are frustrated right now because the courts have really taken over and how they are ruling against some of the NCAA rules, whether it be the transfer restrictions that have now opened up the transfer portals, this House settlement. I think we're looking for a little bit of stability. This House settlement, while it's not what everybody wants, I think it does give a little bit of a roadmap for the next couple of years. It does allow institutions to start revenue sharing. It does allow institutions to provide additional scholarships in some of the sports that used to be limited, like such as baseball. Baseball had 11.7 scholarships you could hand out.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's going to go up to their roster limit of, I think, 34, and it's going to be up to the institutions to determine that. And I think that's a hard thing for institutions right now. We've got to change our mindset and our thinking. Myself and my staff have been sitting down with our coaches and really trying to tell them, like, hey, you've got to shift the way we used to spend money. It used to be that we did these things for 20 years in college athletics because it was for recruiting or for the student athletes. And now you can shift that and reallocate that to actually compensating the players through a revenue share or additional scholarship dollars. And so it's shifting that mindset. And I think we're doing that really well here at Coastal.
If you don't mind me asking you this question, when you were working with the NCAA, did anyone ever sit down and say, guys, we need to get ahead of the curve? This is going to be like a landslide if we don't get our heads out of the sand. Yeah, I hope you could answer that.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people at the NCAA, especially when I was there. I remember those meetings where you could see this, what we're dealing with in college athletics. It was coming. And I think what was difficult is you were dealing with a vast number of institutions that had differing perspectives. What SEC athletic departments are going through is completely different from what the Southern Conference is going through. What the Pac-12 or what used to be the Pac-12 was going through was different than what the Mountain West was. And at the NCAA level, they were trying to get everybody to agree and vote accordingly to put in the legislation that would help open up a lot of that. And I think that was the frustrating part. But that's when you have a national governing body of so many different institutions and different levels of resources, you're going to get differing opinions and you're not going to get everybody to agree. And I think that's why we're kind of in the place that we're in right now in college athletics.
Where do you stand on collective bargaining?
So I will say, this is not Coastal stance or the Sun Belt stance, but me personally, I worked at the NFL office. I helped work on the collective bargaining agreement when I was going through law school. And I think, you need some form of that eventually in college athletics. And if not, the courts are going to keep telling us what we should do, right? And anytime you get the courts or government involved, you might not get the outcome you want, right? And it might not be the outcome that we want or student athletes want. So I think there's got to be some type of bargaining back and forth. Now, is that going to look like the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball? Probably not, because it's just vastly different. You're not drafting players, right? Student athletes are coming into a college institution. They're picking it not just for athletics, but for their college degree and what they're wanting to major in. But then also you're dealing with a different group of student athletes every couple of years. And now with the transfer portal, you're dealing with them a different roster almost every year. So we've got to figure that out. But there's got to be some form of that, I think, in the future. or we're just going to keep coming back to, lawsuit after lawsuit happening.
How many interviews have you done today about your promotion?
I've been on interviews since about 7:30 this morning. So it's been a long day. I was on interviews last night, interviews today, but that's great. We get to talk about Coastal Carolina and the great place that it is. And I keep inviting everybody down. I'd invite you guys down too. I mean, come to the beach.
Hey,
it's not a bad place to take in a game.
Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. Chance. I'll come out there and we'll do a show there.
That's what I was going to say. Come set up your show on the surf turf, on the Big Till turf, and have some palm trees in the background, and then we'll take you over to the beach after.
That sounds wonderful.
Done deal.
Yeah.
Done. I'll make it happen.
How many have you seen? I don't know exactly your schedule. Or students are on campus right now, right? Because spring break's been over. So did they carry you around like you were a king on a throne throughout the day today after they heard your promotion?
Not yet, but after I get done with this, we're playing a baseball game.
Okay.
Next door, and I'm getting ready to go throw out hot dogs.
All right. There you go. We'll let you go. You got to have been exhausted from all this, but we do appreciate. Tell Patrick thank you, but thank you too.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me on.
Thank you. Chance Miller, the Director of Athletics. He's got a hell of a resume too, being part of the